Vasquez shoots! Vasquez scores!
Now we have to go and do a job in DC, and I don't think it'd be too difficult to get up for this game.
Here goes Facundo Torres. Torres comes in, shoots and scores!
We have a great opportunity at home to get our qualification.
And now Kalina caught off his line! Oh, what a goal from Lucas Salarian!
A win and we're in. We still have everything to play for.
So, decision day in MLS began with the Eastern Conference, and the equation for Pat Noonan's FC Cincinnati was simple. Avoid defeat away at bottom side DC United, and a first ever playoff place would be theirs. It wasn't meant to be this straightforward though. Luciano Acosta put them ahead 6 minutes in, and then almost immediately the same player who once served DC with such distinction had set up a second Cincinnati goal. Brenner made the clever run, though his finish still needed help to get it across the line. The Brazilian will clearly be a major weapon for the orange and blue when the playoffs begin, and be in no doubt Cincinnati were going to be there. They'd scored again by the 24th minute.
Getting onto it, Brenner. And he's got his second, and FC Cincinnati has its third.
Thank goodness the season is over, said Wayne Rooney afterwards, but at least one of his DC recruits made a splash. And if Rooney can get a regular tune out of Ravel Morrison, then 2023 might have a different feel to it. They'll need to sharpen up defensively, though. This was number 70 that DC had conceded this year.
Brenner. Still Brenner. What a goal! Another goal for Brenner.
A third hat-trick of the season for Brenner, and this one had come in 29 dazzling minutes. There was a memorable moment for DC's 17-year-old Christian Fletcher, who scored his first MLS goal in only his second appearance. But DC have finished as the worst side in MLS, just as FC Cincinnati have for the past 3 seasons. Not in 2022, though. Brandon Vasquez scored their 5th, a playoff place secured, but Noonan says his team are now out to create something special.
To Exploria Stadium, where Oscar Pereira's Orlando City had to win to snatch the East's final playoff position away from the Columbus Crew. Caleb Porter's team only needed to draw. Your commentators are Matt Jackson and Phil Blacker.
Salarian pinging the pass wide for Derek Etienne. The match winner a week ago against the Red Bulls. He's picked the pass here for Cucho Hernandez. And Khaleesi gets down just in time.
Big moment. Doesn't look like there should be enough pace in the shot to trouble him. It is palmed onto the post. A really good save, low down to the right-hand side.
That is beautifully worked. He's in again here. Is Etienne. And he finds the finish, and the Crew lead as they take a big step towards the playoffs. Wonderfully worked goal.
Great goal. It had been coming. Caleb Porter will be delighted. His team settled. They were confident from the start. This is a fine finish as well.
Junior Urso able to turn and slots in the equalising goal. Fabulous finish. And just like that, it is 1-1. And one more would do for Orlando.
Yeah. Tough for the goalkeeper going full length. It's a really good finish. But that's a big moment. Is it the decisive moment that changes this game?
He let it go. Farsi now chases after it and will just reach it ahead of Junior Urso.
Good defending. Oh, that's incredible. That's a foul on him, and it comes from really good defending. Oh, this is a big moment.
It's Torres, and it's turned over the top. Hello, Rome, with a big save.
Well, I mean, that's incredible, because Farsi looked like he was fouled. He defended the box really well. Fine reactions from the goalkeeper. This place has come alive. Strap in.
Schlegel, the target for the corner kick, did get his head to it. There's the chance. Just diverted away from the target. The big shout will follow. They want further reward. Benji Michel has made a difference, and this will just be checked.
Yeah, there was certainly a ricochet. Is the arm raised? Oh, it is raised as well.
Degenek, the defender.
It's on target, the shot.
And listen to the roars. It is a penalty for Orlando City. They've scored 2 of their 3 MLS penalties so far this season, all taken by different players. This time it is Facundo Torres against Elo Rome. And the Lions lead. Torres goes for the powerful penalty, and Orlando have come back from behind. They are on course for the victory they need to extend their season.
Incredible scenes. And this is a fine penalty. Goalkeeper going the right way, guesses, can't do anything to stop the pace of that ball. Drilled high into the side netting.
Zelarayan has had plenty of time to size this one up. Gets it back again and goes for goal, and Galese's in the way. Zelarayan thumps the floor in frustration because the goalkeeper was equal to it.
Great save. Probably was just bending outside of the post. He couldn't take the chance. Oh, it's painful, isn't it? He'll be so disappointed because his side have dominated for so long. Yeah, I mean, they think they're home and dry now, these home fans. And they are. Wow.
Orlando City into the playoffs for the 3rd straight year under Oscar Pereira. They've certainly had to do it the hard way, but they've got the win that they required. It's finished Orlando City 2, Columbus Crew 1.
Very happy and very proud of the club, of the community who had put Orlando City on the map of MLS as a protagonist. The boys found their way to qualify, and it's a big thing for us. We're very proud.
To guarantee themselves top seeding in the East, the Philadelphia Union needed to win. And Jim Curtin's free-scoring side wasted no time in setting out their intentions against Toronto.
Gazdag goal! What a shot! 1-0 Union!
Less than 4 minutes gone when Daniel Gazdag rifled in the club's 69th league goal of the season. And it was the Hungarian's probing pass that helped Mikhail Uhre double the advantage shortly before half-time. For a team on track to lose 5 in a row, Toronto's response was spirited. Marc-Anthony Kaye exchanged passes with Jesus Jimenez, only for Olivier Bizot to intervene at the vital moment. If that had Curtin concerned, he could rest easy beyond the hour mark after Shane O'Neill was judged to have handled from a corner under pressure from Uhre. Toronto took issue with the penalty award, and the decision didn't look the most clear-cut. But none of those arguments proved to be any distraction for Philadelphia's danger man.
Daniel Gazdag with a strike and a goal. 3-0 Union, he's got 2.
Gazdag needed 3 more for the Golden Boot, which proved beyond his powers. But earning the match ball with his 22nd of the campaign was the midfielder's consolation. A player to be feared when the Eastern Conference top seeds contest the postseason deciders.
That meant CF Montreal had to settle for 2nd position, but they have an unabating hunger going into the playoffs. Georgi Mihailovic scored their first against Inter Miami, albeit after an entirely unscheduled moment for Drake Callender. These were 2 form sides, though. The Herons had won 4 in a row, Montreal 10 of their last 14, but there was a pronounced difference between the pair here.
Mihailovic weaving his way through and getting in behind again. Square ball, it's a second for Montreal. Lepalainen.
And what would a postseason be without Kai Kamara? Even at 38, you're never sure with him whether this is just the latest chapter rather than the last one. Perhaps the trick to not hanging up your boots is simply by never taking them off. Montreal are the 9th MLS club Kamara's played for. And actually, that might be 2023 calling. Inter Miami's playoff place was already safe, so proud dad Phil Neville gave Harvey Neville his debut, and he created their consolation. An own goal by Joel Waterman concluded a wet day in Miami, but at least one sun was shining.
New York City FC knew a win in Atlanta would guarantee 3rd place and ensure they'd finish above their Hudson River rivals, the New York Red Bulls. Gabriel Pereira's clever finish got them off to a perfect start. NYCFC had never won in Atlanta, but arrived brimming with confidence. So upbeat that even Nicolas Acevedo fancied his chances of scoring for the first time in his senior career. The midfielder's misfortune meant Nick Cushing's side still had just a slender lead. But that changed with half an hour to go.
Eber! Golazo! A 2-0 lead for New York City.
That took on extra importance when Atlanta struck back thanks to a couple of splendid passes from Luis Araujo and Thiago Almada. Former Red Bull Andrew Gutman scored, but couldn't do any more to help his old club. NYCFC had third sewn up.
So fourth place in a home game in round one of the playoffs for the New York Red Bulls, and the final match of the regular season against Charlotte proved to be the perfect aperitif. Elias Manuel bashed in an 8th-minute opener. It's never a smooth passage into MLS as an expansion club, but Charlotte will take a lot of heart from their first season. Their own playoff charge only came to an end a few days ago. Here, though, the Red Bulls just had that extra dash of individual quality.
Here's Manuel, gets a shot away, goal! Oh, what a strike!
It's Cincinnati here in the playoffs, and that'll be exciting too.
In our final game from the East, nothing significant to play for at SeatGeek Stadium. Just as well for Giacomo Vrioni, who somehow failed to open the scoring for the New England Revolution after just 45 seconds. Instead, the Revs had to wait until 2 minutes from the end to break the deadlock against the Chicago Fire. Very tidily done too by substitute Dylan Barrero. Not the only player to make an impact from the bench. Straight away, the Fire sent on forward Alex Moniz. In stoppage time, the 19-year-old's first senior goal meant these clubs would end their campaigns by sharing the points.
We're still in it. We got to cross our fingers a little bit. I'm convinced we'll get the 3 points.
We're just a team that never gives up. We need to make sure that we get a good result, and we have to put a good fight in.
We've dug ourselves into a hole now. It's in our own hands. Now it's up to us to go and get a victory.
Let's try to win. We'll try to do everything in order to win and finish at 46.
Sumptuous strike. RSL looking ruthless as ever. Let's go.
Decision day in the West was illuminated by two huge winner-takes-all games. First up, Real Salt Lake, who needed a victory to make the playoffs, faced the Portland Timbers. Whoever lost would miss out. Watching this one, David Prutton and Dan Roebuck.
Well, 12 months ago, RSL somehow made the playoffs, a 95th minute winner. This time around, another victory is required. They've got an early opportunity here, potentially inside the penalty area. Straight at the keeper, second opportunity has been spilled, and eventually it does go in. Andrew Brody will score, however, the whistle is gone, and it will not count because the flag is up.
Did feel like there was an awful lot of time and space. Obviously the home crowd fervent in their celebration, thinking that they'd managed to sneak a very, very early lead in this game.
Still RSL looking for an opening. And they might have it here with Savarino's corner! Wonderful strike! Perfectly played. Real Salt Lake lead. Ivacic beaten. And that is some goal.
Just does this all at his own pace, doesn't he, Savarino? Ivacic clawing away to his left-hand side, nowhere near it.
Savarino, neatly done. Here's an opportunity for another taken. Rubio Rubin. It took a deflection. I don't think that Ivacic would have stopped it anyway. And Real Salt Lake have breathing space here against the Portland Timbers in their quest for a place in the playoffs.
Bill Tuioma obviously wanting to repel it one way, but getting stuck in the wrong place and lifting it up and over his goalkeeper. That's the reason it goes in.
Jimmy Chara. Mosquera again. And this is Moreno, who looks to play back here. Jimmy Chara with the effort.
It's the first real sign of life that we've seen in the second half, especially from the Portland Timbers. Jimmy Chara thumps it off the near post of Zach McMath.
Merrim stays on his feet, not once but twice when he could have gone down. Anderson Julio has been slipped in here! Should have been another.
Wonderful play by Merrim to stay on his feet. Nice little chop that gets him back inside. It's a perfect ball through. It's just an awful miss.
Asprilla, lovely touch and turn. Niasgoda calling for it! Oh my word, he got his toes to it, but not enough.
Wonderful turn by Darren Asprilla, driving at the opposition, putting the ball into space. Doesn't fully commit to the slide though, does he, Niasgoda?
Hidalgo for RSL, who are searching for a third that would rubber stamp their place in the playoffs. Hidalgo started the move, finished it off, and Timbers have to suck it up in Salt Lake.
This is a fantastic goal. If you're looking for an attacking team to pull the finger out and start taking apart the opposition heading into the postseason, this is exactly what RSL are doing.
Be able to get something back here potentially. Asprilla's effort deflected and in. RSL will not be getting an 11th regular season clean sheet. Timbers on the score sheet here.
It's quite simply a deflection. That is the only reason that it takes it past Zach McMath.
Full time here as RSL make the playoffs in the West. It's finished Real Salt Lake 3, the Portland Timbers 1.
To put forth a performance and get a result like that in front of a big crowd is fantastic. Not only for the players and not only for the fans, but I think for the club and really the synergy between the club and the fans. A very important moment moving forward, and I couldn't be happier for the fans given the performance the guys put forth tonight.
Minnesota United and the Vancouver Whitecaps were playing out an identical scenario at Allianz Field. A draw would be enough for Minnesota to get into the playoffs, while Vancouver had to beat them to pip them to the postseason. It was no surprise to see early ambition from Vanni Sartini's team, Julian Gressel amongst those, to keep Dane St Clair on his toes. There must have been Minnesota nerves in front of a sellout crowd. They'd lost 5 of their last 6, but this helped relax the masses.
It's opened up for Frega. Minnesota United score. They shall not be moved.
So the Whitecaps now needed 2 goals to budge Minnesota out of the playoffs. It was an issue just trying to pop one past St Clair, though, who continued to repel all that was aimed at his net. Sartini had to chase the game before it was too late, and then it was. The Vancouver playoff dream was ended by Jonathan Gonzalez, who scored his first Minnesota goal to make it 2-0. Perhaps surprisingly, they're the only team in the Western Conference to have made the playoffs in each of the last 4 seasons.
Starting decision day in third, FC Dallas needed 1 more point to secure home advantage for their playoff tie. So Sebastian Leget's first goal since joining the club in August was a timely contribution. Off the mark in his 10th appearance since swapping New England for Texas. If Sporting Kansas City's lowly position suggested a straightforward conclusion, recent results told a different story. After the break, Graham Zusi revived SKC's prospects of landing a 6th win in 8 matches. Substitute Alan Velasco was determined not to let that happen, picking his pass shrewdly as Dallas restored the lead.
Ariola! Goal! FC Dallas are back in front!
The form of Paul Arriola's been one factor that's helped Dallas achieve the best year-on-year improvement points-wise in the club's history. Velasco too has repeatedly caught the eye, and though he couldn't quite add his own name to the score sheet, the winger's impressive return from injury bodes well for the crunch game to come.
Staying in Texas, the LA Galaxy also knew a win would mean they were at home in round 1 of the postseason. Sebas Ferreira's 13th of the season for Houston, though, hinted that perhaps the Galaxy would be the unlucky party to fall out of the West top 4 on decision day. And it was a feeling that might have been heightened when Chicharito's shot licked the outside of the Dynamo post. But Greg Vanny had said that the arrival of Ricky Puig, as well as Gaston Brugman, had added clarity to his Galaxy midfield. Most saw, but none could prevent Puig's equaliser just after the half hour. He's not carrying this team alone, though. Chicharito had scored 10 goals in the past 2 months, and this one took him beyond his previous season best in MLS. 18 for him in 2022, and the gap between those 2 Galaxy goals was just over 90 seconds. The visitors scored a slick third after the break. Dan Jovalic ensured the LA Galaxy will be at home in a playoff game for the first time since 2016.
LAFC wanted to mark the day they'd lift the supporters' shield by notching up a 10th successive home win. As Dennis Boanga discovered, Nashville had no intention of letting that happen. Joe Willis with arguably the best of his 14 saves throughout the game. The direction of travel remained the same during the first half, LAFC dominant, and when Christian Arango was bundled over shortly before the break, they seemed sure to claim their reward. A penalty conceded clumsily by Daniel Lovitz, which Arango approached with supreme confidence.
Chicho! No! Oh, Joe Willis just put his paw up there.
The cost of that embarrassing moment became clear 8 minutes into the second half, when Hani Mukhtar's corner was helped on for Teal Bunbury to give Nashville the lead. As Golden Boot frontrunner Mukhtar drew a blank, that was one of only 2 shots on target the visitors managed all match. Another big chance came and went for Boanga, as LAFC suffered just the 2nd defeat on their own patch in the entire campaign. They weren't unhappy for long, raising the supporters' shield for the 2nd time in 4 seasons. Steve Cherundolo's side in good shape ahead of their bid to add to the silverware.
With 2nd place behind LAFC secured, the only outstanding issue for Austin was whether Sebastian Driussi could move ahead of Nashville's Hani Mukhtar in the Golden Boot standings. But they were fielding chances as much as they were creating them against the Colorado Rapids. Driussi had actually had a goal disallowed in the first half, but his eyes were alive again when substitute Felipe was nudged over in the penalty area late on. Of course the Argentinian was going to take the spot kick. Of course he was going to score it. 22 MLS goals and crucially 1 shy of Mukhtar's tally. And there was 1 more goal in the game at Q2 Stadium, but not for Driussi or anyone in Verde and Black. Diego Rubio's stoppage time equaliser leaves Austin with just 1 win in 7 going into the playoffs.
Finally to Lumen Field, where it's been far from the brightest season for the Seattle Sounders, but captain Nicolas Lodeiro did his best to improve the mood, rocking the San Jose Earthquakes inside the first minute as the Sounders tried to raise a smile at the end of the club's first ever year without playoff football. The Quakes showed why it's been a season of struggles, striking back quickly. Christian Espinoza foiled, but Stephen Cleveland couldn't stop Jeremy Abobasi. Like their hosts, San Jose have had a campaign to forget. At least it meant the pair were well matched, which made for an entertaining, if sometimes chaotic, finale. A huge scramble eventually teed up Albert Rusnak. Remarkably, the Quakes still survived. Frustration for Brian Schmetzer, but after returning from the half-time break, his team once again got off to a good start.
Going to fall here for Lodeiro on his right foot! And that's not something you see too often. Nico Lodeiro on his weaker foot.
The experienced Uruguayan's phenomenal finish would have been a worthy winner. San Jose, though, introduced a much younger talent as they attempted to find a way back. 18-year-old Cade Cowell dispatched that beauty, collecting the Quakes' first point on the road since early August.
That draw meant San Jose finished bottom of the West. LAFC had already secured the Supporters' Shield, but ultimately it was only by virtue of games won and confirmation that Minnesota and RSL earned the last 2 playoff places.
It was Orlando and Cincinnati who grabbed the final 2 playoff berths in the East, with Columbus missing out. Philadelphia ended as the conference's top seed, having gone the whole of the regular season unbeaten at home.
So it's the Red Bulls against Cincinnati in the East to kick off round 1. Miami are at NYCFC and Montreal host Orlando. In the West, Dallas take on Minnesota and Austin face RSL. And there's an El Tráfico on offer for the Galaxy should they overcome Nashville and their Golden Boot winner, Hani Mukhtar.
we leave you with the moments that mattered from a rip-roaring decision day in MLS.
Brenner. Still Brenner. What a goal! Another goal for Brenner. Gonzalez! And they reach out and they touch the playoffs. And it's Hidalgo. That does it.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.